So, got the gun back from the store after it's been, yeah, I'll mention that in a minute. Anyway, I'm starting off by celebrating, because I've just come back. Actually, I just went to the shops as well, but because it's quite a drive, it's over 200 kilometres to get it. Bolter Cerveza. So this is an Australian take on Mexican beer. Obviously trying to compete with Corona, because Corona has become ridiculously expensive, like really expensive. So this is cheaper than Corona. It's made in Currumbin in Queensland, which is a very nice part of the country. I'll tell you how close to Corona it is. It's very refreshing. It's not the same as Corona, but it's a bit citrusy. Alright, Bolter Cerveza. Tastes like a great arvo. Arvo is Australian slang for afternoon. This crisp beer is that little drop of summer, full stop. Light on hops and big on refreshment. Something you'll grab from the fridge on a hot day and go, you beauty. I have to agree, yeah, it is really refreshing. That's actually really nice. What percent is it? I can't see. 4.2. Okay, not too bad. So if you're looking for a cheaper option than than Corona, Bolter Cerveza, excellent. It's really good. Highly recommend it. So anyway, the Firearm. So this morning I got a phone call from John the gunsmith at the gun shop that I do a lot of my shopping at, and he said, right, your gun's here to pick up. I was like, yeah, alright, what'd you do to it? Just gave it a bit of a lube in the action, and I said, yeah, rightio. Did you do anything to the chamber? And he said, no. And I said, okay, so you reckon lube's going to fix the problem? He said, well, it was dry, but the problem that you're having is an inherent problem, and that is that the what's called the bolt, it's a multi-lug bolt. So he said the problem is with the primary extraction. So with primary extraction, the best action with the best primary extraction is Mauser 98. It's got a huge cooler extractor, and when you move that bolt 90 degrees, it pulls, the extractor is angled, so when it goes across the base of the case, the rim of the case, it actually pulls it out slightly out of the chamber. So that is the best primary extraction, and these are some of the worst because it's a multi-head bolt, a multi-lug bolt. It doesn't really move much to unlock and lock. It only moves very little. Now the extractor, it's very hard to see here. I can't even see the extractor. It must be tiny. I'm just going to get a torch so I can see what kind of extractor it is, because I haven't even had a look at it. Right. The reason why I'm having a racket back. Oh look! Oh yeah. Okay. It looks like. Yeah, that's only a tiny extractor. So there's a M16 type extractor claw on this side, and it's only I'd say like maybe, I don't know, 6mm wide. So it's only a small extractor claw. So because it's a multi-lug bolt that only turns a little bit to lock and unlock, and because that extractor claw is only small, the primary extraction is quite poor. Man, he really lubed this up. Oil coming out everywhere. Now, one thing about this firearm, the Artech Prima XP in 308 Winchester, is that it does not have a hold open. So you can't hold it open unless you physically hold that action open. Yeah, it's going to close. It's going to lock. And it doesn't matter whether, where's the magazine? Now I'm going to go get the magazine. Yeah, so what would have been nice is, so the magazine is, it's got a plastic base and plastic catches and a plastic follower, but the actual body and lips are steel, which is good. That's how magazines should be. So the magazine goes in pretty easy, not a problem. Now, one of the issues, so it's a 4-round magazine, but when you rack it back, that foregrip totally covers the magazine. Okay, and you would, is that screw loose? It is too. You would have to, you have to do a big cutout. There are no, man, that's a tiny little. There are no, yeah, that screw's loose. That's not good. Oh no, that one's loose too. So I'm going to have to, I think, Loctite them, maybe. What was I saying? Oh yeah, the foregrip totally covers the magazine. So if you wanted something other than a flush magazine, you would have to cut out a big portion of the foregrip, which wouldn't really, and then you'd have only a little bit to rack on, unless you put a handle on there or a pistol grip on there or something, which no. So you're restricted to 4 rounds. Now, so what was I going to talk about? So it's obviously made by the Turks, Artech, who I'd never heard of, and they reckon they've been around for decades. Yeah, I never heard of them. Like I said, you know, last time, there's just Turkish gun companies popping up left, right, and centre here in Australia, selling repeater shotguns and now repeater rifles, and so I like the gun, you know, I really do. The fact that I was getting cases stuck in it now and then, yeah, what do you do? Hopefully we'll get around that. Now, I'll just talk about the overall fit and finish and like the work on the actual gun itself. It's really good. It actually looks good. Fit and finish is good. It shits on that. Like, I had a Remington 7615 223 pump action. Man, the fit and finish on that was just shit. Like, the stock was, yeah, it looked like, I don't know, yeah, looked like rubbish. It really was. It really was. You had just sharp edges all over the place, and where the moulding, they hadn't even taken off the flashing off the mould seam, and look, you know, that thing, and like, I can hardly, when I go side to side on that, it hardly moves. There's very little movement. That 7615, man, that handle was just rocking around like crazy. It was as sloppy as a, yeah, I won't say how sloppy it was, but it really was. It really, that 7615 was, yeah, it was a bit of an abortion. But it operated fine, and I never had any stuck cases in it, not that I can remember. Yeah, it had a seriously shit trigger, and I did get that Temney trigger kit, which was a sear and a spring, and it really improved it. Now the trigger on this, so obviously nothing in it. The trigger, I'll describe the trigger. So it's got this massive take up, and then it's sort of, yeah, it's not, yeah, it's got the trigger off a cheap shotgun. That's essentially what it is. It's crunchy, it's gritty, got a big take up, and it's not a crisp release at all. So I'm not going to touch the trigger, right, because that would void my warranty, because I'm not going to do anything myself to this thing until we've sorted out the stuck case problem. Because if this stuck case problem persists, I'll take it back and I'll say no, it's not good enough. Alright, sorry. Now the other issue is that one of that screw, the first screw or rear screw or whatever, on the pick rail sheared off, it broke off. Why that happened, I reckon it was because the radius of the pick rail was bigger than the radius of the receiver. Now, when I spoke to John, the gunsmith, and I said to him, listen, the radius of the pick rail is bigger than the receiver. He said, no, it's not. I said, well, it certainly bloody looked like it to me, because I could see daylight either side of it. He said, no, mate, it came loose. And what I've done is I've tightened it down and Loctited the screws so that it doesn't come loose again. Now, I don't recall it being loose, but I'm not going to argue with him, because, you know, he's a gunsmith and I'm not. And, you know, I've installed a lot, you know, over the years, and all the firearms that I purchased and had to install pick rails or mounts or whatever on. So I've done a lot of it. It's not like I'm some noob, you know. And I've never had a pick rail or a mount come loose. Yeah, rings I've had come loose, but not mounts. So that was really weird. Anyway, he said, no, look, I Loctited it. It's not going to happen again. So, all right, no worries. So what I'm going to do is put the scope back on it, go back to the range. Oh yeah, by the way, I said, all right, so it's got shit. The prime extraction is shit. He said, yeah, look, it might take a few rounds put through it. Pardon me. Might take a few rounds put through it before it settles down and stops doing that. Pardon me. And I said, oh yeah, so alright, how many? You know, that's sort of vague. How many do you reckon, how many rounds do you reckon I should put through it before it's obvious that it's an inherent problem that just won't go away? He goes, a couple of hundred. Well, I've already put 35 rounds through it of the, where is it? Of the OSA ammo. Okay. And I think that's, I think it might be pretty hot, because from what I understand, it's the same ammo that they supply the military, and military ammo is usually hot. Now, I've also got, how many pieces are here? I've also got these custom loads that I made years ago, and they're a 150 grain spear, hot core, 45 grains of AR-2208 barget, OSA brass, so it's the same brass as that, and CCI primers. Now, one of the issues might be that the brass is really hard. I don't think that would be an issue, because the softer the brass, the easier the case is going to expand. So, I don't know. We're going to have to wait and see. So I've got the standard OSA bulk ammo, which is excellent. I've never had a problem with it through any other gun. Obviously this is a different story. I've got the 150 grain spear hot cores using OSA brass. Then, so you know what? After COVID, had come and gone, which it has. It's been a while now since it was an issue. I thought that there was going to be a bit of a recovery in firearms accessories supply, and it's the complete opposite. Like, you know what? Stores and companies here in Australia are sourcing primers from Europe, and I don't ever recall seeing European primers. It was all CCI, it was all Winchester, it was all Federal, Remington. I never ever saw European primers, and now, like, quite literally, it's pretty much all you can get. Fiocchi and I don't know who else. It's all that I can see. And ammo, and now just like 308. The 308 has got to be one of the. It's like, I don't know, like chicken of the gun, of the caliber world or the cartridge world. It's, who the hell doesn't stock 308 and shitloads of it? And guess what? No. So what I could get, because I want to try a few different loads, a few different brands, and I'll just shoot them off and just, see if they get stuck. To see if the inherent problem is inherent to all brands of ammo. So I've got the old Winchester Super X 150 grain, and Winchester Super X, as far as I'm concerned, is just junk, or it always has been. I've never seen anything accurate. I've got the PPU rifle line. Again, I think there's soft power point. Yeah, there's soft points, hunting ammo, soft points as well. 150 grain, soft points, and Federal Power Shock 180 grain. So there were two other ammos that I could have bought, which was what was it? It's Hornady Match, but that's like $90 a box for 20. And I went, yeah, you can stick that where the sun don't shine. And the other one was some Fiocchi super duper, I don't know, gold plated shit that they wanted $70 a box for, and I just went, yeah, I'm not having any of that. I'm not that interested to see what's going to happen with this firearm, that I'd spend that sort of ridiculous money. But I've still spent ridiculous money. Like, this is $50 a box for the Federal. I don't know what it was for the PPU. The Winchester is $45 a box. Winchester Super X is not worth $45 a box. It's rubbish. You know what I'd pay for it? I'd pay like $20 a box for it, because I've never had any success with it. Pardon me while I have another beer. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 different ammos. Go back to the range Friday. Today's Wednesday. I'll go back to the range Friday and see how I do. And what I might do is this. This is a rimfire scope. Yeah. What I don't know which scope to put on it, whether to put the 30 power back on it or something lighter, a hunting scope on it. But I want to see what the accuracy is like with this thing, so I'll put the 30 power back on it, and hopefully it won't shake the friggin' rail loose. Yeah, so until then, there's nothing really much more to say. But again, there's a few edges that they could just on the trigger guard. It's, yeah, a few edges they could take care of. But other than, generally speaking, like, I really like it. It's so much smoother and like, it feels really sturdy. Whereas that 7615 Remington did not feel sturdy at all. It felt decidedly, rickety. Again, the trigger is how would you describe it? Rubbish. Yeah, it really is. It's rubbish. It's heavy. It's gritty. It's got. Yeah. Actually, the take up isn't that much. It's heavy. It's gritty. It's just spongy. Yeah, it's not good at all. But aside from that, I really like it. I'm hoping good things for it. I'm hoping that OSA ammo proves to be really hot and too hot for it. Now, one of the other gun shops that I was at looking for ammo, he said, well, you know what, it might have a really short throat, and it might have a tight throat, and it might have this, might have that. Well, who knows? You know, without disassembling the thing and doing a mould of the chamber, I wouldn't know what the hell is going on. So there's only one way to figure it out, and that's just trial and error. Try a few different brands. So the action is spring loaded, so you only have to bring it back and then release it. Although, so that it makes it very, very quick. Again, I like the magazine. I like it hasn't got a tiny butt stock like the 7615 had. It's quite a generous. It still is a bit skinny. It's not ridiculously heavy. And one thing I do like about it, compared to the Remington and there's a whole bunch of other pump actions that are on the market here in Australia. I think 3 of them are made here in Australia. The WFA, the SCSA Taipan, and what's the other one? Oh, I can't remember. There's like 3, but they're all really, really, really tactical, just all tactical, full bore. I'm not really into that. And in any case, they're ridiculously expensive. One of the beautiful things about this, it's $1,600, as compared to the next affordable one is about $2,500 or more now, probably about 2,800 now, and then it just goes up. Like I think which one, the WFA or whichever one, is like $5,000 or something for the 308. You've got to be joking. No way, you know. So this is a very affordable option, and it feels solid. It doesn't feel cheap, you know. The receiver, the top of the receiver and the barrel, which the barrel is screwed into the top of the receiver, are steel, and the lower receiver is it alloy? Yeah, it is alloy. The trigger group is plastic. It's got iron sights, sweet, and it's, yeah, to take it apart you got to undo that, just like the shotguns. So look, I'm hoping great things for it. You know, I won't know it for a couple of days. You know, like I said, tomorrow's Thursday. I'll go to the range Friday and have a good old shoot of it, and we'll see. Now, aside from this, I've got a little project that's going to happen, and that is this thing. And you might say, well, hang on. You might say, yeah, what is it? There's not much to it. So this is my, well, it's out of my CZ 457 training rifle, which has got the 28-inch iron sighted barrel, 24-inch barrel. Now, so I was going to really have that for hunting, but I've also got that T-bolt, and I've also got the Hauer 1100, which is operating fine, and it's reasonably accurate. So what I've decided to do is do a bit of a full bore, well, not full bore, but full on build for accuracy. And so this has got the Yo-Dave spring in it, the lightest one, which breaks really light. Yeah, it's really nice, which is actually out of the 17 HMR. Release it. So what I'm going to do is that action. So I've got a MDT Oryx chassis coming. I've got an IBI 22-inch stainless barrel coming, and I've got a Nico Sterling 10 to 50 by 60 ED Hornet coming. So once that's all together, in theory, it should be an extremely accurate package, and if it is, I might try and do a little bit of competition shooting with it, like maybe a little bit of bench rest, because yeah, all things considered, putting all that together, so I might have to muck around a little bit with, so one thing that I have done is that I've actually altered the firing pin, and I'll go into greater detail when I put the thing together, because yeah, I learned something new. I'm just constantly learning new things, and the firing pin, the standard firing pin on the 455s and the 457s are, or strikers firing pins, are not really suitable, or they're not optimum for 22 long rifle ammunition. They are more suited to 17 HMR and 22 Magnum, and I'm not going to try and explain it now. Yeah, I'm going off track. Really, this is the rifle of the moment, and like I said, I really like it. I'm really hoping good things. I'm hoping that's just that OSA ammo is too hot for it, and I can just because I've got plenty of powder. I've got plenty of cartridges, and I've got plenty of projectiles, so I can make a shitload of ammo for it, no problems. But I will find out exactly what's going on after I've gone to the range. So until then, see you later.